Thank you for tuning into Embrace Life, where you are inspired to overcome your fears, enjoy life to the fullest, and to find your purpose. This program is paid for and sponsored by Embrace Life Coaching Business and various sponsors. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Embrace Life. I am Regina Harrell, your motivational strategist, and this episode is more like, pretty much near and dear to my heart, when it comes to talking about different things. I would say a difficult thing to talk about, whether it's your family or in a relationship, or pretty much something that's going to be a little hard to be, pretty much to accept. So I do have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Daniel Lyons Evans. I am the CEO of the Lions Pride LLC, and I do multiple different things. But I'm actually, very excited about being on the show today with you. So I appreciate
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. And today, you guys, we're going to be talking about life insurance. So let's talk about it. I will start off with, my little story for right now. This year has started out a little bit hard for me. I started out with pneumonia first. And then after pneumonia, I had COVID for about 2 weeks. And I said I had like a week break from everything. And then after that, I had a mini stroke. But what I found out was actually the things that I actually been through, Mr. Daniel, I found out there was a lot of people who actually passed with those very same things. And what I also discovered is that they didn't have life insurance. Some of them did not have life insurance. So since we're talking about this during this episode, would you like to tell, the people a little bit about what you do?
So one of the things I do, I'm a financial consultant, financial advisor. But one of the things I do is I help people access up to $1.5 million while they're still alive by using their insurance as a way to become their own bank, as a way to actually truly use insurance in the form and the purpose of what it was created for. So just a quick scenario, in the Black communities, we're only taught about insurance as a means to bury you and, that kind of stuff. You got to die in order to get the money. And so most of the life people, fighting over who won't be the beneficiary to mama's insurance policy or who been paying the most on the policy. And if it ain't paid, then, all this kind of stuff. And the tragedy of, just having that type of conversation is, when we don't do our due diligence, when we don't take the time to invest in our futures, what mainly happens is when somebody passes, we have to either have fish plate dinners to sell and GoFundMe accounts and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't have any money at all, then you got to automatically be cremated. But because we wasn't educated properly about insurance, we only know insurance as a way to die. But did you know that there's a thing that's called living benefit, will actually give you the ability to access up to 85% of your life insurance policy while you're still alive. So if something was to happen, tragedy was to happen, you have a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, blindness, anything like that, which you told me a story recently, you would have been able to access up to 85% of your policy just because you have that living benefit. So if you have a $700,000 face value on your insurance policy, 85% of that is $500,000. So imagine being able to pull out, because in certain situations when you do have a stroke or something like that, you may survive it, but do your income really survive? Because you can't go back to work.
That part.
You alive, and we thank God for being able to, keep you alive. But what happens to your income? So having this living benefit gives you an opportunity that if you was to get $300,000, you can pay off your house and not have to worry about that burden being on your life, because I know that bills are the number one cause of the stress is, for a stroke, is having to worry about financial, how you're going to make it. And so my job is to sit down with people and find out, what type of coverage they already have. And if they don't have anything that without, if they don't have living benefit, then, you know, they really paying too much for whatever they got. And they really don't care how much. You can have $1 million policy. If you ain't got living benefits, then it's not going to benefit you until you die.
That makes a lot of sense because, you know, and I just thought that was interesting that you have brought up the living benefits, because actually I had never heard anything like that, you know, as long as I've been having my insurance. So at the this, you know, same token, it's a lot of people who don't even think stuff like that even exists. So when you do pull out, is that something that you have to pay back, or like how that works?
So so it's based off of your face value of your policy. You don't have to pay it back. They give you up to 85% for the living benefits, and then they reserve the 15% that whatever's left over to actually bury you. So you never have to pay it back. So what happens is you become your own bank. Every month you pay your premium. Every month you pay your premium. You actually paying into your own bank. You paying into your own policy. So it's nothing you have to pay back. You know, you can use it more than once, because if something happens again, then you actually able to still be able to pay your premium every month. And it's something that that happens when you actually, you know, like I say, have the right policy in place. You can become your own bank. So another thing we do is show people how to retire. We have an option on your insurance policy that has a lifetime income. That if you were to get an annuity or IUL with us, with the annuity, you know, once you get a certain age of retirement, it'll double your income for life. So let's say you're making $48,000 a year. By the time you retire at 65 with an annuity, that annuity will pay out $102,000 a year for the rest of your life. And that's all because of insurance. And it's just something that we don't know about as a community. So not knowing a lot of things really puts us in a disadvantage. So I encourage all my people, you know, if you don't have a policy with this coronavirus going on, with this bird flu, all this other stuff they got going on, if you don't have something that has some type of value like living benefits or cash value, a lot of people got term insurance. Term insurance is just exactly what it is, for short term, and it terminates after that. So if you are actually able to if you outlive your policy, then there's no money there for you. But having a whole life gives you cash value. It gives you the ability to be able to have those living benefits. And then if you got an annuity or IUL, it actually comes with an actual savings plan that actually gives you up to 16% return on your money by having it into a insurance policy.
Oh, okay. So, and I guess, like, you know, one of the main concerns, you know, especially for certain ones, is like, what are like the I guess the pricing, like what is the minimum that you have to pay a month?
Well, I know a lot of people are really nervous and scared about insurance because they think that if you got $1 million policy or $500 policy, it might be a lot of money. But I will tell you that the way insurance is set up now, there's no money down, zero money down. So you don't pay anything to submit a policy. In fact, you don't pay until you actually get approved for that policy. And then they ask you for a draft date. You get to pick the date you want it to come out. Of your account. But the most important thing is this: you set your own budget. I sit down with you and find out what your goals are and come up with a financial plan, but we find out what you can afford, and we do the policy based off what you can afford. So you're not stuck with paying something that's too high, and you can actually get coverage for less than $1 a day.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, because like I said, that a lot of times be the reasoning behind why people really don't get policies, because they think it's too expensive. And not just that, I would say too, you know, when it comes to the children, you know, I started real early with my kid. I even, you know, made sure my grandson was insured as well. How important is it as a parent to insure your children? Because, you know, right now they're passing at all ages.
It's so important that once your child is born, the earliest you can get insurance, I think it's like 6 days or something like that. But you want to make sure you got some type of policy on your kids for a couple of reasons. For one, you want to make sure that, you know, you're actually able to be financially, okay if something was to happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of baby has died from sudden infant death syndrome, things like that, and because they didn't have a policy, the parents had to bury the child with no type of compensation behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a savings plan. We can get a child an IUL. A 3-year-old can get an IUL, $50 a month. And when by the time that child turns 21 years old, they got over $100,000 in their savings, because it actually compounds the interest on what you'll be saving for your child. So it has a cash value added to it. It has death benefit, living benefit, and then it has a savings plan that gives you up to 16% compound interest. So you're doing 3 things at one time. So by the time your child gets able to become an adult, because you made the decision to be responsible with your child, your child would never have to worry about being on their own and struggling at age 21. Think about how much easier your life would have been if at 21 years old, you had access to 6 figures.
Wow.
Just think about what kind of start in life you can have if you have that type of financial backing. And so it's more of the financial literacy, educating the community on what is available, because living benefits have been around since 1937. That's how long it's been around.
Wow.
And nobody been known about it until recently. We've actually been educated on it. But you can use insurance like an open active checking account. You can get money in and out, it's liquid. And I just want to make this announcement for you all to know why insurance is so important, because insurance, anything that's attached to an insurance policy, the IRS cannot tax it. It's the only vehicle that the IRS can't put their hand in if you got a policy in place that you can use it as an active checking account. Because think about it, people like Donald Trump, richest, he's a rich guy. He was, a billionaire. He was the president. As a president, they asked him for his tax returns, and they found out that he was paying less taxes than, than somebody, making like $100,000 a year. And people was mad because he wasn't paying taxes. But it's not, you can't get mad at him because he knows the money game. He knows how not to pay taxes. You can take your money and put it into an insurance policy just like he did, and you're not paying taxes on all your money. You're only paying taxes on the money that you have, available. So you can take, let's say you made $1 million last year. You can take $800,000 of that money and put it into an insurance policy that has an active checking account attached to it, and you will have to pay taxes on $200,000 instead of $1 million. So it's not your fault if you understand the game and you know how to work. You just got to get in line, because this is what the wealthy people know that we don't know, that actually separates us from from being learn and unlearn.
Wow. And I do know that I know, and I can only go by what I know, but I just noticed that there are more men who's passing that don't have insurance at all. So how will you encourage the men to actually go out and handle that?
One word: legacy. Who you want to leave, what you want to leave behind. You want to leave behind a legacy that's saying that my father worked his butt off all his life, and he left behind a 6-figure legacy. Or do you want to be that man, like the Temptation said, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home, and when he died, all he left us was alone. Right. ALONE, alone, by yourself. And because he was bad with finance, he left us alone. ALOAN, alone, to pay back, with no kind of financial background. So being able to leave behind a legacy, that would be my number one message to the guys who feel like they don't need insurance. If you don't get it for yourself, at least get it for the people that's got to bury you. Because I'm going to tell you something, when you have to deal with a death, you are already emotionally handicapped at that point. Having to deal with how to put together the pieces of your life with a huge financial burden, that's not going to make things no easier for you.
No.
So if you are a woman out there today and your husband don't have insurance, go get a policy for him, put it in his name, you pay it every month, because what's going to happen is the problems compile when you have to bury somebody and you don't have insurance. You know what I'm saying? But knowing that when I put this man in the ground, at least he had enough to leave me $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for me to actually rebuild and restart my life without him, because that income that man is going to be unable to make because he's gone. That income is what you have to look about. You got to think about the future income. You know, if your husband is 40 years old and he got, 20 years to work and he passes, what's that 20-year absent income look like? So you got to think about the future. It's not always thinking about right now. You can party. They say you only live once. Yeah, you only die once too.
Right.
But you got to understand that when you die, life goes on, and whatever you occur in your life, somebody got to take care of it when you're gone. Leave them something to actually, leave a legacy behind. So when I talk to my guys on my podcast, Inside the Den, I tell them about legacy building and leave behind a legacy. I want my great grandkids knowing who the Lions Pride was, because Lions Pride, was involved in a bunch of this and a bunch of that and financing, and Lions Pride learned how to leave a legacy behind. So my kids don't have to, I don't want to say this publicly, but I got to go ahead and say it. If they don't want to work, they shouldn't have to, because I paved the way to be able to leave behind that silver spoon that I didn't get when I was born.
Absolutely. And I feel that
I have to create a silver spoon and leave my kids. And if they do good or bad with it, that's on them. But I've done my job as a man.
Hey, I understand completely, because like when I, came with embrace life, it's like embracing life and all that comes with it. And we know that when we're born, someday we're gonna have to pass. So we're preparing either way of what's going on. So, always, especially when it comes to relationships, that's like one main subject or topic nobody brings up in a relationship. So, because, once you're in a relationship and everything, it's going to lead to engagement if that's the way it's going to go. So I feel like while you engage, like, it's important to even talk about things like that. Are you covered? Do you have insurance? And, it's nothing to scare people off, but, it's part of the preparation for everything. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and you have to be prepared, because like I say, you fall in love with somebody and you don't prepare, then they leave behind a bunch of bills and a bunch of problems. Then, you might think that I've wasted my time, or I've done all this, but it can't be too of a alienated conversation that we are so afraid to have. It needs to be just like when you're dating somebody, you ask them what their credit score is. You want to see what this person is financially. Then you want to be asking stuff like, okay, are you covered? Do you have an insurance policy? I need to know how much it is, what it covers, so you can kind of know how you want to take the relationship. But it should not be a difficult conversation at all.
Right. And you always hear that song, get your house in order. You remember that song? And most people say, oh, well, that song is all about, making sure you leave money and stuff behind for your family. No, get your house in order spiritually, mentally, and physically, because at the end of the day, I feel like getting your house in order is making sure that you don't leave your family with a burden, like you mentioned earlier. I feel like getting your house in order.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that all comes with it. We have to advance to a time where, and then what you said, leaving your kids money, I would just say like this: whatever money you're gonna leave your kids, leave it in a form of an insurance policy so the IRS can't tax it. And that way the money is going to be safe, and whatever you leave, they're going to get the full amount instead of having to be taxed and penalized and all that kind of stuff. So go and get some insurance policies and put your kid's name on it and leave them some insurance, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be able to, take them to the next level. That actually has value. It actually has, his legacies behind that. And I'm gonna give you one better. You can use your insurance for things like McDonald's, JCPenney, and Disney World. All three of those companies were started with life insurance policies. Walt Disney could not even would not even get qualified to secure a loan from the bank to start the theme park. So he had to go and get money out of his insurance policy to start that. And now it's worth over $70 billion. So that all came from an insurance policy. So understand how you gotta know how things work. You gotta know the language. You got to know the process of how things work so that when you build in your legacy, it won't be taken from you.
People, listen. We make sure that our car insurance is paid every single month. We also go as far as making sure that our insurance on our phones is paid in case of a damage. But we forget about the most important thing, and that's to ensure our heartbeat. We cannot drive a car or talk on the phone without a heartbeat. Did you know that you can access $100,000 up to $1.5 million while you're still alive? With the right coverage, you don't have to die to access this money. LP Consultant Services offers free consultations, zero money down to get coverage on the most important part of your life, which is your heartbeat. LP Consultant Services are available to speak with you concerning possible coverages. Call Daniel Lyons and Evans at 984-249-9376 for your free consultation today. Act now, because tomorrow may be too late.
Invest in your lifestyle today with Embrace Magazine. It's a self-care magazine that caters to your physical, mental, spiritual, and financial lifestyle. It features relationship building, self-care tips, empower building, style, and much more. Embrace Magazine will encourage you to evolve, emerge, and empower. Get your copy today. For more information, contact embrace@yahoo.com or subscribe at embrace61wixsite.com/my site. Invest in yourself. You are worth it. That's, man, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, like I said, it's, I always felt like it's very important to have that life insurance and, even talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about death, but we know it's going to happen someday. And we just have to be, prepared and everything, and I noticed that you had mentioned in the Lions Den. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay, well, yeah, podcast, talk show, live. I got pre-recorded as well. It's called Inside the Den. Is a platform that I created during the pandemic because what I realized was that, when we talking about Black men about not wanting to get insurance and things like that, Black men don't do therapy too well. Black men do not want to admit that we need help with things, so we kind of suffer in silence a whole lot. And you will see somebody that's real strong, you think they're real strong, and then they commit suicide. And you're wondering, how did they get to this point? And it was like, he didn't say anything, because men always internalize everything, and we deal with it. And we're not the outspoken one like the women talk about everything they can think of, they'll speak on it. A men internalizes things differently. So during the pandemic, being confined to your home, not being able to go out, people work from home, there was a lot of men struggling mentally, internally, that they really couldn't, nobody could, nobody know. So I said, how can I reach my brothers? When only time brothers really speak out is when we having fun, hanging out, maybe at a bar, a strip club, or, at the man cave. You inside your man cave, you can have some guys over, and that's when the real conversations happen. So if you can see my background, this is the set from season 1 of my show, Inside the Den. And so I created a platform that men can come in and judgment-free zone. They don't have to be worried about being judged about their issues. We can have conversation about worldly views, politics, fatherhood, Black Lives Matter, business, and they can actually promote their business. And during the process of doing all that, I realized that it was not only therapy for them, but it became therapy for me as well, because I was going through some things, and me being able to talk to my guys about it, it kind of helped release some things that I was able to get over. And I really thank God for being able to be able to use me in that platform to get that done. But we air once a week. We on season 2 right now. We just shot an episode yesterday. It's going to be pre-recorded it's going to be aired on YouTube on Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. So you all can Inside the Den on YouTube. Like and subscribe and hit the notification button. But we are actually working on some things right now, getting ready for season 3. I have about maybe 10 episodes left in season 2, but I'm putting together all guys men's empowerment road trip to Miami, Florida, to have all the different entrepreneurs going to be going on this trip. And we're just going to show what Black excellence look like. We're going to be showing some things that, you know, how men can bond and create a lifetime bond just by being part of the organization, things like that. So we're going to be doing that. And that's going to be, I'm going to have 2 film crew guys to come with me, 2 camera guys, and we're going to be filming footage, and that footage is going to be used to promote season 3 of the show. So we're still going strong right now in season 2.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you are doing that because, you know, like you said before, men are not like the greatest communicator, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, you know, especially stuff that they go through, because they do 9 out of 10 feel judged. And, you know, what do this lady think about me because I told her this issue? And I think that's very, very important to, you know, even have. So thank you, sir, for even having that for them, that platform for them. But, you know, when it, you know, I would just say when it comes to just being able to live and, you know, getting that therapeutic help, and even when it comes to your physical health, there's people who having a hard time going to the doctor to even find out what's going on. So they pretty much hit in the head, you know, when something happened to them. And then the family is stuck with this issue that we're talking about, this life stuff, you know, when it comes to the not having the life insurance, and they're doing this GoFundMe. That stuff is stressful because you're looking at, we already dealing with your death. So now we got to deal with, try to fund it, you know, make sure you're put away, you know, correctly. But I even had people say, you know what, they could just burn me. You know, I don't even care. They could just cremate me.
And that's, I was talking about that last night. If the person ain't saved, if they ain't sanctified, or they ain't Holy Ghost filled, you cremate them, they got to go through being burnt twice. They got to go through being cremated, and then they go into hell. Like, don't put that. I can't put. I'm joking about going. But I mean, think about it. I mean, but not having that type of you know, insurance just to even bury somebody. You know, it costs. I looked it up. It costs $12,000 to embalm a body. $12,000 to embalm the body. So if you got a $10,000 life insurance policy, you're gonna have to raise money, and you know that. Yeah, death never comes when you're ready for it. It comes when you unprepared. So everybody in the family finances is shot. So as soon as everybody's finances is down, somebody passes, and we all got to pitch in to help. And nobody has money. They done just spent their money on this. They done spent their money on that. Yeah. So trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip, you know, when somebody dies, if you got to keep doing that, think about how many people in your family done passed away since you've been a kid that y'all done had to chip in on. Think about how much money you done had to chip in on people's funeral. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? When you all can just have a policy and say, we ain't got to come out of our pocket, a policy going to take care of everything. So it's a conversation. Let's talk about it. America, let's talk about it. The community, Black men, let's talk about it. Black women, let's talk about it. I'm gonna give, how much time we got? I don't want to go over time. We oh, you good? You good? All right. I'm gonna give you some really a heart-to-heart like conversation about why. I need y'all to bear with me because this is gonna really strike some nerves. The reason why it's so important to have insurance and things like that on your young Black men, on your young Black sons. You know what I'm saying? You know that your sons got a target on their head already. A lot of people believe that, you know, one race is superior to the other race. And if that's true, then if a race is trying to get rid of another race, they have to get rid of them completely. But if we have stronger organs and we have, you know, built a little bit tougher, you know, in certain areas, then when they say Black Lives Matter, some people believe that Black Lives Matter because of the equal opportunities and things like that that we haven't been able to be afforded. But the other side of that coin is this. Back in the 80s and 90s, you know, Flavor Flav made a song that 911 is a joke. the gang violence, street black on black crimes. And when the police was called, the police would show up how many hours later?
About, I don't know.
And it's like, why they coming so late? It's
Right.
because they have to make sure that when they arrive on the scene, that person is done.
Already
The
gone.
reason why is because there's a Caucasian man somewhere right now about to die. He's a billionaire. He needs a heart. He can't just go and kill somebody to get his heart. So where he gonna get his heart from? So when they hear somebody's a gang fighting and two black men that's got real strong backs and real strong hearts, and they say when you see somebody, you know, get ready to get picked up by the coroner's office, they on the phone saying, I got 2 black men shot on the streets. Okay, are all organs intact? All organs appear to be intact. They're gonna take that person. They're going to take that person. They're going to take them to a place. They're going to strip them down. They're going to cut him down the middle. They're going to take all his organs out of his body. They're going to sell it on the black market. A heart goes for what? $1 million maybe, you know, long living, all that kind of stuff. And so we're sitting around here and you can't even afford to bury your child, put him in the ground, but then some white person take their organs and make money off of it. And then the mama is at home crying about she can't afford to live after her son passed, but somebody done already made money off of her son's organs. So understand this: if you don't have, if you don't belong to somebody, if nobody is responsible for you, if you don't have money allocated to your life, then somebody's going to get paid off your body without.
I never thought about that, because
there was a story in Chicago, I believe it was, where this teenager was missing for 2 weeks. And when they found him, mama had identified his body because they had stripped him of all his organs, took out his tongue, his teeth, and his eyes, and he was just left empty, blank, without nothing, while they were looking for him. So and not having insurance, there's nothing left to do with it. I mean, what can you do?
Man.
Having insurance, you belong to somebody. I mean, and then if you're not an organ donor, check this out. If you're not an organ donor, who's going to dispute it if you're dead? Who's going to dispute it?
Yeah.
If you're dead, who gonna defend you on your organs if you're not an organ donor? Nobody. So they can do whatever they want to do with your body and your organs, and give your mama an empty body to say, dress them up and go to a funeral, and you sitting there struggling, and they done made 5. You seen John Q, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, perfect example. Somebody has to die in order for somebody else to live. And we out here killing ourselves in the streets, then we making it easy for them to just take our organs and recycle them and keep people alive that should be dead and kill people that should be alive. Come on now, we got to understand that this whole thing is part of a system, and we're systematically not taught about insurance in school because they don't want to know nothing about that. Teach us about Christopher Columbus, who discovered what? Teach them about who made the light bulb. Don't teach them nothing about life and how to make this money, because if we teach them that, then they're gonna take over the world. We can't have that. You know what I mean? so keeping people in the dark about things will guarantee that they're not gonna ever benefit and never gonna be able to prosper. So it's time out for the silence. It's time out for the uneducated. It's time to start learning and start living your life the way God intended for us to live it. Being fruitful and multiplied, having abundance in life. So it's time out for only waiting to go to heaven to be able to experience happiness. God wants to experience that and enjoy that while we on this earth.
And see, it's time to start doing more research. That's one thing that we don't like to do, is a lot of research. That's why sometimes we be lost in space. But there are other times where people can actually tell us things and don't tell us because we don't know what questions to ask.
Well, it's the reason why a lot of people they reject knowledge because they don't trust it. And I said this plenty of times on my show. people trust the struggle more than they trust success. I can talk to somebody about successful and show them how to be, and they're like, it sounds like a scam. This is the scam, right? The real scam is working for a job for 20 years and can't even get retired, because when you retire, you're only making a portion of what your retirement is, and you can't even pay your bills. You got people working 70, 80 years old, still working a job because they can't retire, because their retirement ain't but $800 a month or $900 a month. That's a scam to me. That's a scam. So people have a hard time even receiving information because they haven't heard it, and they're so skeptical about everything. I'm skeptical about somebody having to go to work for 40 years and can't get paid more than, $20 an hour, and then the economy keep going up. Right now, I think gas is like
everything
$15. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty high. You have to like drive your car differently now because of the economy. But here's the thing: the price of living is going up, but the chances of living is going down.
It is. It sure is. That makes a lot of sense. It sure is.
So you have to put stuff in place to actually even the playing field. If your job shuts down, or if the economy goes up, the money that you have right now, you're losing buying power because the dollar is not worth the same as it was before. And so if you don't put some things in place, when the economy crashes again, how are you going to survive?
Right. And then you got to think about the commuters, the one that has to come from one place to another, and sometimes driving 1 or 2 hours just to get to work. So if gas prices keep going up, sooner or later, they ain't going to be able to make it to work.
They ain't. They have people that said the Uber drivers had to turn down a bunch of jobs because they can't afford the gas to get out there and make the money they used to make. So a lot of people is having to, go into these hybrid cars and having to take other jobs from work from home because they can't afford their car wear and tear, oil changes and all, everything is going up. But if you don't have a plan in place, like what are you going to do when your money don't go as far as it's supposed to go? Having that insurance though, I got an annuity set up. So I can go in there and cash in when I want and go buy me I can go buy me a car or go buy this or that and use it for your insurance. So these are some of the principles that we need to learn so that we can be ahead of the game. See, they already said that the rich already have a plan for Biden's tax increase. They've already started purchasing fixed index annuity accounts where they can put their money in and they don't have to worry about being taxed. So you go to a bank right now. You've been to a bank before and seen it say FDIC on the outside of the bank?
Yes.
You know what FDIC is, right?
No.
FDIC is an insurance company that actually funding the bank. The insurance company got more money than the bank. So why is it that the banks put their money into an insurance policy, but they want you to put your money into a bank? The reason why is because you don't make anything off your money. They make money off your money.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you the truth. This is how the game works. And we don't know this. So, and even people who think they got money tied up into a 401k, that's a scam. 401k is attached to the stock market. Anytime the stock market loses, the 401k loses, and then you got to get penalized for getting out early, and then you'll get double taxed. So if you got $20,000 in a 401k, by the time you get it, it's only about $8,000 to $9,000 because the IRS gonna tax it 33%. You're gonna get penalized for getting out early, and by the time your money is all cut down, you done worked all them years for. That's a scam to me.
That's crazy. So real quick before we get off here, how could they get in touch with you if they needing life insurance, or even if they want to convert over to your life insurance?
So if they wanted to get in contact with me, they can contact me at insidetheden43@gmail.com. They can contact me on Facebook, Daniel Lyons Evans on Facebook. And then they can contact me on my text my phone 984-249-9376. Those are my contacts, email, Facebook, and my phone. They can get in contact with me anytime. Awesome.
I'm so glad you took the time out, Daniel, to inform us about these things that, you know, I learned something today. You know, very, very informative podcast. I hope you guys take it in, take these nuggets in, and, you know, get some life insurance, you know, and you know, talk about it. How about talk about it with your family?
Have a conversation.
Have that conversation. But, you know, thank you so much for tuning in to Embrace Life. And I hope that we'll have like another episode again, Mr. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely open and willing to sit down with you anytime, as long as my schedule is clear. I'm definitely excited about, you know, doing another episode with you. I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it to be able to be on your platform and talk to some of your people. I do appreciate it.
Awesome. And until next time, you guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, even share this video to someone. This is very informative and I feel like very, very important. And until next time, you guys, we are out. Okay.